Even though we're going into winter, things in the Minecraft community, they're definitely heating up. Since its initial reveal a little time ago at Minecraft Live 2024, the winter drop update, excitement for it has grown and grown and grown. With the release date of this update still slated to be by the end of this year, the devs only have a couple of months left. As we start to head into this final leg of development for Minecraft's next update, I figured now is the perfect time to stop and take a look at what we've got so far. This is everything in the winter drop update right now. Whatever it is, comment your favorite thing in the update down below. Now first things first, there's only one spot that we could begin today, and that is of course the home of most of the brand new features in the game. When this update drops, if you want to pick up all of this new stuff, you're going to need to take a quick stop over at the brand new Pale Garden biome. Now this version of the biome that we're running around in right now is an early version of the biome. Just like everything else that we're going to check out in today's video, this stuff is heavily slated to change. And hey, freeze. Also, for today's video, we'll only be talking about the features that are confirmed for both versions of the game. That means things like the difficulty updates that are only on one version right now. Well, we'll save those things for the full update breakdown videos in a couple months. And in fact, this thing is one of those things that we know for sure will be changing. Later iterations of this Pale Garden biome have a whole lot more pale moss all over the ground and a brand new flower you'll be able to find here too. For now though, moving around inside of this biome, the sky, it's grayed out and soulless. Moving deeper into the thick of it all, we have dense trees with hanging moss all over the place, a brand new type of moss on the ground, and this weird, deep green grass color. Well, deep green, grayed out green, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's weird, it's different, and it's scary. Now this biome overall, technically speaking, it is a variant of the dark oak forest biome. That all means the piece of the puzzle that is the Pale Garden biome, well, you're gonna find it fitting into your world somewhere near where you would usually find dark oak forest biomes. But wait a second, hold up for a minute. Did somebody say new flower? Yes, somebody definitely did, and that somebody, it was me. A surprise, last week, a brand new flower was added to the Creaking update. This brand new flower comes in not one, but two different variants. At nighttime, this flower opens up to what is called the open eyeblossom. On the other hand, during the hours of the day that are a little bit more bright, the eyeblossom will close up and look a little bit more black and white grayscale. Now in stream on Friday, we did a ton of flower experimenting and found out some pretty cool other mechanics with this thing. So for even more of this brand new strange flower, maybe check out that stream next. For today though, you need to know that you'll find this flower dotting the ground inside of the Pale Garden biome. And if you're brave enough to pick this thing up, bring it back over to a crafting table and drop it in, well, you'll find that the closed one gives you gray dye. Meanwhile, the open one, it gives you orange dye. That's super cool. Pale Garden, it comes with a lot of cool things, but all of those cool things, or at least many of them, well, their origin point, it's pretty similar. So our brand new sapling will be added to Minecraft later this year. This new sapling, it kind of looks like a small willow tree or something. It's crooked, bent, and scary. And where there is a new sapling, there is typically a brand new tree. Take a look at this beautiful creation right here. Just like this buddy is a dark oak tree or something, place the saplings down in a 2x2 formation, give it a little bit of time or bone meal, and you'll get yourself a brand new tree. This brand new tree, when grown right now, it generates pale moss on the floor with some carpets too, hanging pale moss up in the leaves, and then of course you could forget, it also generates the tree itself. Take a look at this tree. It's pretty familiar looking right now, but it's also different. Approaching one of these trees in survival, I'll find pretty quickly that this tree is quite a bit taller than me. With my handy axe in hand, I go ahead and start breaking the tree, and then I find out like pretty much right away, wait a second, that's a brand new type of wood. And a brand new type of wood. If you're looking for your favorite black and white wood type of all time, a pale oak, my friend, it's the answer for you. Take a look at this texture right here. This is a brand new texture. The sound right now, yeah, well, the sounds for all of these wood blocks, they're not new or exciting or anything like that, but the texture, please take a look at it. It's beautiful. You also, of course, have that fully logged up log version of the log. And then if you're a little bit more adventurous, maybe you take your axe and strip the log. Ooh, romantic. The thing takes its clothes off, and look at that thing. All of a sudden, you get a cloudy, soft-looking stripped log texture that is pale white, like brightest wood in the entire game. Now, whether it's stripped or not, it doesn't matter. Drop this thing into the crafting table, and of course, just like every other wood type, you'll condense it down into the planks. And planks, well, the coloration here, it pretty much mimics what's going on with the pale oak log block right there. It's so good looking. This is going to be great to build with. In fact, to be honest, taking into account some of the other blocks that this update is also adding, it's going to kind of revolutionize building. But anyways, for now, the pale oak plank, this block right here, it shares the same texture as all of the other plank blocks, except this time, coloration, it's white. You also have a staircase and a slab as well, so you can build to your heart's little desire. Now, alongside the pale oak wood set, we get a brand new pale oak boat. Oh boy, it makes this chest stand out like a sore thumb. Like, that is so intense looking next to this pale boat that has no color at all. Of course, you know how it goes though. The devs, they're no slackers. You get a brand new wood type. You'll also get a brand new fence and fence gate. That sounds normal right now. Hopefully, by the end of this update, they'll go ahead and change that. And by the end of this update, once it releases, it'll probably be significantly different. A quick reminder to tap that like button and definitely subscribe. Week by week, leading up to the release of this update, I'll be covering all of the snapshots of the different changes and creating some great guides that you're going to need to have in your life as well. Now, one of those things that I heavily anticipate changing, maybe even as early as this week, is the texture of the pale oak hanging sign. Because as we can see here, the coloration of this sign is a little bit off here. It's got that original coloration, which was allegedly slated to be a little bit more gray than it was white. On the other hand, the normal version of the sign, like the one that you place in the ground, it's got that pale tone too. Pressure plate, I mean, it's a pressure plate. Button, I mean, it's a button door. Wait a second, is that my friend Mildred staring at me? Unibrow, eyes, and mouth and all? Oh, button nose, adorable. Look at this door right there. This might be one of the best doors of all time. The trap door, it's a pretty nice looking trap door as well. But wait a second, throwing it back here for a second, taking it back to the tree we were taking a look at just a second ago. With my hand, if I break the carpet, I get the carpet. With my shears, if I shear the moss, well, I get the moss. And last things last, if I hoe the pale moss, I'll get the pale moss. In a block that is pretty similar to the moss block that was added in 1.17, alongside that beautifully finished azalea tree and more. Alongside that classic moss, we've got a brand new type of moss. Now, functionally, this stuff is pretty similar to the other moss. If I bone meal this moss and it's near a natural block with nothing on top of it, the moss will spread. Moss carpet is a really interesting thing. This stuff is pretty cool and it feels familiar, but at the same time it feels brand new, because alongside the brand new moss block, we've got a brand new moss carpet. If I place this down next to nothing, I mean, it's just a carpet. However, if I place this down next to something, all of a sudden this moss grows up onto the wall, and even better, bone meal this stuff, it'll grow a little taller onto the wall too. It's really cool, and this functionality, it's gonna work in the corners as well. And interestingly, you could do different layers and heights in the corner too, or you could grow it up all the way. Now, a little bit of a bummer, at least right now, this moss stuff, it will only grow up to 2 blocks tall. You can't keep bone mealing it forever. But wow, look at how good this stuff looks. This is going to be amazing for decorating your base. I wish they do this with the normal moss. Please, devs, please. I also wish they do this with the normal moss too. Hanging moss. Hanging moss is a brand new hangable plant. You can hang this plant on just about any block in the entire game. As long as it's a solid block, it'll probably work. And look at this thing. It's like gray and creepy. Oh, that's amazing. To check out our next feature inside of this update, we're going to head back over to the biome, except this time we're in the dead of night. Moving around inside of the pale garden in the nighttime, things are going to be a little bit different. That's thanks to a brand new mob that is added to the game. This thing is so weird. It's asymmetrical and creepy. The name right here, it's called the Creaking. Anytime I'm looking at the Creaking, it will not move. However, as soon as I look away from this thing, oh, look at it. It moves, runs up on you, and it will definitely attack you too. It's not exactly the nicest mob in the game. Now, the mechanic here that comes into play with the Creaking is when we look at the Creaking, we hit the Creaking, and I'm not going to deal any damage to it. Even if I hit it with, like, best weapon in the game, nothing happens. Instead, we get a little bit of particle action linking the Creaking back to one of these pale trees. If I trace all of those particles back over to the tree, and this is kind of tricky to do here, because if I move around a block and I can't see its eyes, it will move up closer to me. But I'm going to want to hit the Creaking and trace it back to the tree, start mining the tree, and eventually I'll find the other new block inside of the tree. It's called the Creaking heart block. If I break this with a normal axe, I'll get experience. On the other hand, if I silk touch it, I'll get the block itself. And right now, breaking that block is essentially the only way to take the Creaking out. If you're terrified with the Creaking and you don't like them, well, come to this biome at daytime. It will never be here. Or just break the Creaking heart block and the buddy will go away. Now, the creaking, it's one of those features that has quite a bit to it. We'll save all the weeds, the details of this guy for either the snapshot videos or the full update breakdown once the update releases. So, again, you know. But this thing is really cool. There's kind of two different versions of it in the update right now. You have the creative mode one, which is going to behave slightly differently, like, for example, move around at its own will. And then you've got the survival one, which you can only get into your world by placing a creaking heart solidly between two pale oak logs at nighttime. Oh, what's that? You thought we were done? No. Surprise addition to this update. It's way larger than it was a couple of weeks ago. Resin block family has been added to this update. And the mechanics with this one, oh, they're awesome. So here we have a creaking. If I go ahead and hit this creaking, I get the particles. It links me to a block, right? Well, the cool thing about this is every time I'm hitting this creaking, it's having the chance to generate more resin on the logs around the creaking heart. So check this out. If I walk over here, this little orange thing dotting the tree, that's the resin. And as I hit this thing, you can see right there. Well, when Buddy takes a little bit of damage, more resin can form on this tree. You walk up to the tree right here with your bare fist right now, just punch the resin and break it, and it all starts to break. And it breaks really, really quickly too. Now after that, with resin in our hand, we can walk around inside of the game and place this resin thing on literally anything. Like basically every block in the game, you can place it on it. That means brand new custom trees, maybe a brand new path, or just in general, like different kinds of detailing inside of your world is beautiful. You could do it. Or alternatively, and this is something that we're going to be getting into a lot more over the next couple of weeks here, but inside of a furnace, I can go ahead and put resin clump there. It'll smelt up over a little bit of time into a new block called resin bricks. Now, inside of a grid with normal resin, if I go ahead and put 9 of them inside of that thing, I get a new block of resin. On the other hand, 4 bricks inside of the table, and I get the brand new brick block. The brand new resin block, this thing is a squishy block. Look at that thing. It's kind of got like bubble situation going on. Meanwhile, the brick blocks, oh my god, I love these bricks. They're like the classic Mario bricks. They're like orange and intense. You also get a chisel version of the brick with the star of the show on it. Look at that thing. The devs were cooking with this thing. They went all out. These resin blocks right here and all of the mechanics around them, we tested this stuff out on stream, and wow, the devs, their addition of the most beautiful wood set, this amazing brand new fire brick too. Oh, and not to mention the resin is an armor trim material too. It's orange and glowing. Yeah, it's safe to say the devs with this update, they're going all out. And so, as of the almost end of October, everything inside of the winter creaking update, that's just about it. Right now, down below, if you haven't yet, what's your single favorite to block or thing inside of this update? Subscribe to stay guided and enlightened with the new Minecraft updates and more. Tap the join button, become a channel member for some cool extra perks and benefits, bonus content, exclusive videos, and I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.